No. That's not even the right fucking outro. So, some Nintendo Direct, huh? What? It wasn't? Yeah. Mario Kart World is Nintendo's first $80 game, and this caused a big stir in everyone. Like, every single person was surprised by this, and I'm a person, so I was one of them. A $20 jump from the original price is kind of insane, and the fact that Nintendo then went on to try justify it with this Direct is a little bit more insane. Bill Trennan brought up to an interviewer who said that there didn't seem to be too much to do in the free roam mode, that there would be more shown off in this Direct, and he wasn't entirely wrong. We saw what the Peace Witches did, but that was kind of it in terms of that. It is quite cool that we're seeing a semi-return to mission mode. I mean, you know, everyone's wanted it for ages now, Nintendo's listened and they finally included it. But does that really justify the $80? See, this is the big issue. They've made this giant interconnected world, which is pretty damn neat, and you've got a good couple tracks in here that look incredible. But you look at Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, a game which, just looking at the base game, costs $60, and comes packed in with 48 incredible tracks, very detailed tracks, all their own music. You go to this game, you've only got 30. Sure, you've got all the space in between, but a good chunk of it is just that, space in between. And like, yeah, you've got your missions, but Mario Kart DS also had a mission mode. And you know how many tracks that game had? 32. Many of us feel burned by this Direct, and for good reason. You had Bill Trennan and you had Doug Bowser both talking it up as if this would be some kind of big deal. Like, this would justify the first $80 purchase from Nintendo. And really looking closely at it, I'm not sure it does. Look, I plan to purchase the game because I'm a schmuck, but also because I really do enjoy single-player content, and this is a Mario Kart which seems to have a much heavier focus on single-player, so I will be satisfied to an extent. However, trying to look at this from an average Joe perspective, I do think the 30 tracks is a bit too small of a number. That being said, there are quite a lot of intermediate tracks. Tracks that take up the space between one course track. What do we really call these? Between one proper location and another proper location, you will get an expansive road that has hazards and design stuff on it. So, in a sense, each of these then make up at least, like, I don't know, a fifth of a real track, so you could bump the numbers up even further through doing that, but it still doesn't quite feel right. Especially since, as I said, a lot of these end up being rather straightforward, boring roads. Which actually brings me into another issue. The game seems a lot less difficult than Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which, of course, that game wasn't exactly the hardest thing in the world. No, that's Pantheon 5 Hollow Knight. Haha, I don't get what it is, man, I just can't beat that. Point of the matter is, the game seems a bit too easy thanks to how wide and how forgiving a lot of the tracks are. And that's not even taking into account all the new moves you have access to. The rewind time ability, the little squat jump from Super Mario Bros. 2, like, there's so much here now that makes it very easy, at least from a single player perspective, to win. And while I suppose that can then get balanced out by having online multiplayer be a lot harder through this and by having all the single player content of the game, none of it feels like it justifies the price. And I think all in all, that's where a lot of people are standing currently. All these things are pretty neat. You know, it's enjoyable, it seems like a damn good time, but at a push, and I say like a heavy push, $70 maximum. 80 just does not sit right with most folks. And I do think that one of the big things that has caused that price increase is the inclusion of costumes, which, as neat as costumes are, I really don't think they add much to the experience. Costumes take work, they take effort, they take time. You need someone to actually make the 3D models, and that kind of eats into your budget. So if you're telling me that this game costs $80 because, oh look, all these characters get a happy variant, then I'm just gonna look at you funny. I like the idea of costumes, but more so in the sense that they can represent aspects of the series. Like, it is easier to develop a costume for Mario to represent, say, Paper Mario, than it is to create a wholly new model, with new sounds, with new animations, new everything. I'm not exactly saying that every single costume in this game should have been a reference in some way, but I definitely think that limiting costumes to having to be tied up within these categories, linking up to food, was definitely a weak thing. I can't speak for everyone, so maybe if you are Italian and you're seeing the more Italian dressed up Luigi, you are losing your shit, but for me at least, I don't really care. Unless it is my favorite Scrimbly dressed up as Scrimblow, I don't really like this. As funny as I think that fancy King Boo outfit is, I'd prefer his purple design from Luigi's Mansion any day of the week. But even aside from that whole issue, there's even more problems with this Direct. That being that once again, Nintendo hasn't been precise enough and hasn't explained enough. For example, 200cc has become a staple of Mario Kart since the literal previous game. Well, actually, technically there was 8 Deluxe, which was a different version, and Tour, and Home Circuit. Point of the matter is, Mario Kart 8 introduced 200cc as a post-launch update. Is that going to be the same case here, or is 200cc something you can unlock? We saw in the treehouse that there was only 50, 100, and 150, but the little selection screen almost seems to imply that there is going to be 200, so what's the deal? You mind telling us, Nintendo? No? Okay. Similar to the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct itself, I feel like Nintendo is sort of not properly discussed things. They haven't really gone into enough detail, and here at the very least I can say, oh, it's because they want to surprise the players, but even then I'm not too sure. Like, we saw that whenever you do a P-Switch challenge, you get this little icon thing. Is that a sticker you can equip to your vehicle? Is that just an achievement screen where you've got a whole bunch of them? What is the point of doing the achievements? Do you get rewards for doing so? What about character unlocks? We've seen so many different characters, and we can tell that you can unlock at least Charge and Chuck through Kamek's magical abilities, but what about the rest of them? Do you unlock them through these challenges? Do you unlock them through completing cups? Do you exchange the Peach tokens for them? You didn't really go into any detail about this. And it just leaves me in the state where I'm huffing as much copium as I can, because there was things that Nintendo's hidden. There is things that Nintendo hasn't properly discussed, so maybe there's still a chance you can drive as a Thwomp. Maybe Toadsworth is still in the game. Maybe there are costumes from Paper Mario characters. And like, as much as I'd like for those surprises to be there, you kinda can't really have surprises. Let's look at Super Mario Odyssey, okay? That game more than justified its existence and its price. You see the trailer for it, oh look, Odyssey, yes, see, look at all these locations, look at all these wacky things you can do, this looks like a fun game. You buy it, and then you get the Mario 64 costume, like, near the end, and it's like, oh my god, that's an awesome reference. In that instance, Nintendo didn't need to justify their price point with the inclusion of something like that, but here, Nintendo has spent so much development time on various character costumes, on the various playable characters. They are a key focus of this game, so you need to discuss them. You can't leave a significant chunk of the roster a surprise. And like, I get it, you know, we're not going to sway that many people by including, like, Toadsworth. But I don't know, I just feel like having something big and new to announce in this, like some couple new characters, would have been something to add to this direct. Show off Diddy Kong or Dixie or Funky, you know, that gets some people cheering, that at least would have been something, but there was truly nothing to get excited about in this showcase. And at that point, you really do have to wonder, what was the point of even having this in the first place? At this point, I really do doubt that this game's gonna sell the best. I think at launch, you'll get a good chunk of sales. You know, the people like me buying it day one, you'll get a fair amount, but I don't think this is gonna be like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I don't think this is gonna keep on selling gangbusters till the cows come home. Nintendo will likely try to continue its momentum. I definitely think we're gonna get some DLC for this game, but honestly, with an $80 price tag, that DLC better be fucking DL free. To put it shortly, the Direct was underwhelming. Even in areas where it would have been just whelming, it still managed to disappoint. It didn't go into enough detail where it should have, it went into way too much detail where it shouldn't have, and I just feel like I completely wasted my time and brain energy. Perhaps I'll be singing a different tune whenever I play the game, and it turns out that there's boss fights, they're back, and you can get all these Paper Mario guys. Look, you can play as Toadsworth, but you can also play as Chunks. Maybe then I'll be singing a different tune, but from where I'm sitting right now, the game does not seem to be worth the $80 price point, and I'm worried going into the future of Nintendo. If this is what variable pricing allows for, then what could we see next? Could the next Smash Brothers game be $100 just because then that way they can actually include characters like Snake and Cloud? Will the next 3D Mario be $120 because, oh, there's twice as many areas as Odyssey and now there's 1,600 moons? Could the next Wario Land game be $200? $1 for 1 inch of his cock? This direct has left me more worried. It has left everyone more worried. And the future of Nintendo, it seems a bit dark. I don't want to say it's Jover, I've got hope. I definitely have hope. But it's getting harder and harder to hold on to that hope as the days go on. At best, we'll see a 3DS style situation where they do a price cut here or there and then there's ambassadors and all that garbage. At worst, who knows, we could be on for something bad. If there's one thing we can take solace in though, it's that this game has an amazing soundtrack. Like, yeah, I had high hopes because of that theme from the last trailer, but good gravy. You know, there's some really good stuff here. Like, major props to the Nintendo music team, as always. While the rest of the game might feel somewhat disappointing in terms of what it references and the callbacks and all that garbage, musically speaking, we have things from all over the show. I'll be linking to a video in the comments below which goes over just all the songs from like the past week, so not even including all the remixes heard in this, which had stuff like the battle mode music from Double Dash, you know, that there's stuff there from Mario Galaxy 2, from like Mario Galaxy 1, I know, pretty crazy, Yoshi's Story, just everything you can really think of. I have hope that we might hear some RPG music. We might just get a little bit of Mario and Luigi, or at the very least, a bit of Paper Mario. That's the end of this video. It's a much lazier than usual, but I've got to get to work on university stuff. Man, you know, this whole Nintendo thing's been eating too much into my time, you know, them video games. Leave a like if you enjoyed or want to come back to this video. Why would you not come back? I don't know, so you can then say, well, you were right, or, oh, you were wrong, idiot, in the comments whenever the game releases and you see that they've actually included fucking Captain Syrup. And subscribe if you've watched my good videos, because most of these videos as of late haven't been the best. You want a good video? Go to my Pikmin one, alright? Especially in the back half, that thing's peak. Pikmin. Got him. Bye-bye.